Today's increasingly interconnected economies and consumer demand are giving rise to major growth opportunities in local retail markets around the globe. Companies that have successfully leveraged their core competencies and brand to grow outside their core markets have so far prospered while acknowledging the uniqueness of individual markets around the world. What innovative expansion methods can be expected for retailers to remain competitive in our changing economic landscape and flattening world? And what about previous pitfalls? What can be concluded and learned from previous cases? We've assembled a group of experts who have earned the right to talk about it. From Mango, worldwide trendy fashion icon for the young urban woman, Senior Vice President Business Development, Jose Gomez, has opened new markets on 6 continents. From Delhaize, Belgium, the progressive food retailer headquartered in Brussels that operates in 11 countries on 3 continents, its Senior Vice President of Affiliated Retail and New Markets, Dennis Knoops. And here to start us off with overarching context and insights, from the Ebeltoft Group's latest global insight, the National Retail Federation welcomes the senior partner at Macmillan, Doolittle and Ebeltoft USA, Neil Stern.
Good afternoon, everyone. What will it take to thrive in the global arena? It's a tough question. And in order to try to answer it, we assembled a group of experts from retail around the world. And as part of Ebeltoft, we also conducted a quantitative and qualitative research study to try to provide some insight on that answer. Clearly, if you want to be an international retailer, there's a number of things that you need to do. The first thing, of course, is that you have to deal with national, regional, and local laws and regulations. All the red tape that surrounds an entry into a market and the differences in rules and regulations that happen by market. You have to account for new and entrenched competition. Every market's different. The competitive set in every market is new and different as you come across them. You have to perfect supply chain strategies, often in very different market conditions. There's a wonderful article this weekend in the Wall Street Journal that tracks the progress of a piece of fruit in India trying to get to a Walmart store. So Walmart, the king of logistics and supply chain, has to totally reinvent the way they go to market as they go to a new market or an emerging market like India. You have to understand local consumer tastes and preferences. Seafood isn't seafood, a piece of fish isn't a piece of fish, depending on which market you're operating in and what country you're going to. You have to adjust pricings, promotions, merchandising, and mix to adjust to local market norms, to seasonality differences, to regional differences that exist in each market. You've got to get the real estate right. Probably 9 out of 10 mistakes happen with picking the wrong real estate, paying too much for real estate, missing the shifts that happen in a local market from a real estate standpoint. And then finally, you have to transfer your company culture, the expectations about your brand across countries, and bringing the people, bringing the culture that define your company across. No one said it's going to be easy. In fact, it's probably one of the hardest things that any retailer has to do. So you multiply the difficulty of expanding in your own country and how hard it is to simply succeed where you are, and then you try to grow internationally. But as hard as it is, global does remain where the growth is. So why are we interested in globalization? Why are we interested in global retailing? The Middle East, Africa, Latin America, Asia are all growing significantly faster than mature and developed countries around the world. So it's where the growth is, it's where the growth is going to remain. The biggest retailers in the world understand and get this, and if you look at where they've been growing, international far and outweighs domestic growth in every one of their P&Ls. So for Walmart, Tesco, Carrefour, Metro, international is all a major focus of where they're growing. And they're growing there despite some pretty costly mistakes along the way. So there is not a single global company you can name that hasn't stubbed their toe going into some country. Even for those experienced retailers, there's been some costly mistakes and some recent mistakes. And Tesco USA with the question mark there, you saw that in the introduction video. Even Tesco, which is one of the greatest retailers in the world, stumbles as they go to new markets. So the question we asked ourselves at Ebeltoft Group is there a way you can improve the odds? Can we do something, can we learn something about the market? Can we learn something about past successes or past failures of globalization that will help guide us into the market? So we conducted a global study, 18 countries, split among developed markets and emerging markets, across all retail sectors, looking specifically at 92 retailers and over 120,000 stores. So we tried to be very inclusive and to see what we could learn about patterns of globalization. And then really importantly, we talked to the executives of retail companies themselves and learned from them what their insights and learnings were. The full study is available on our website. I'm going to share with you just some pieces of information. The first one, not surprisingly, is internationalization varies considerably depending on what kind of market you're in. So if you have a very large domestic market, you probably have gone international a bit later in countries like the USA. If your market's very secular, like Switzerland, you see less internationalization growth. And of course, as you go to the left, the smaller the country is, the more borders you share with other countries, the more likely you were to explore globalization much sooner, and the more developed those retailers are from a global standpoint. Birds of a feather flock together. So when we ask people, well, how are you growing? Those retailers that were part of developed markets went to other developed markets. Those retailers who operated in emerging markets, they tended to be more comfortable expanding their concept to other emerging markets. So while we see both kinds of expansion, the expansion tends to be in similar markets first. And no surprise at all, internationalization has escalated in the past 3 years. So whether you're in developed markets or emerging markets, everybody has put more growth and more emphasis on international as a way and a part to grow. And then we tried to do something like any good consultant would do and say, aha, there's got to be a way to quantify this, right? Let's figure out what's really happening. And we took 10 attributes that were considered keys to success. Locations, ability to adapt locally, the way you define your product and merchandise mix, the way you have local management, real estate, entry management points. And one of the things that was pretty interesting on this chart when we got done with this is we kind of concluded everything is important. So we were hoping to say, hey, it's these 3 things that are really important to this, but in fact, everything is important when you look at internationalization. And whether it's succeeding or failing, you've got to get it right. So we said, all right, let's dispense with the quantitative charts, and let's really start to listen to what those retail executives were telling us. And when we did that, we came up with 4 keys to success, or 4 keys to avoiding the path to failure. And it wasn't so much that there's news here, it's the emphasis that the retailers gave for each one of these points. And we'll go through each one, having a clear reason for being, listening to customers, leadership flexibility in markets, putting the right partnerships together within a market, and then finally, all the pieces of execution that are involved in succeeding in retail anywhere. Those were really the keys when we boiled down to everything that retailers were telling us. Wasn't a magic there, it was fundamental execution. So who are some of the success stories? What are they doing? Have a clear reason for being. So wonderful global retailers like IKEA and Sephora, they have a clear differentiation they bring to the marketplace. And as we started to look at this across country, very common themes came through. The retailers who succeeded in expanding globally, they brought something new to the market. They're doing something that hadn't been done before to those local consumers. They got those consumers excited, they gave those consumers a reason to shop there for somebody else. And it's summed up wonderfully in a comment from Burberry that says, identify your points of difference. What does your brand do that few other companies do? It could be a product attribute, it could be a brand equity, it could be quality, it could be customer service. But do something that they have not seen before in that marketplace. And retailers like Hornbach, Fnac, and Hollister have been succeeding because they're bringing news to the marketplace. Listen to the customer. It's about as cliched a thing as you can ever say, but what they were really telling us is really listen to the customer. And in fact, one of the biggest mistakes that these retailers pointed out is they said, you know, if we're going to a market that's completely foreign to us, we acknowledge that and we listen to the customer there. When we're going to a neighboring country or somewhere that speaks the same language, we automatically assume we know that customer. And nothing can really be further from the truth. So listen to the customer and have great flexibility in local leadership. And you look across whether it's Lidl or Media Market or Starbucks, these are very well-established global brands. They have a formula, they have a brand, yet each one of these companies did something different to adapt as they went to a local market. Starbucks had to change their format in China to meet local behavior. There was more seating there because it's a dine-in culture. Media Market brought a lot of local management autonomy into the Spanish market. Lidl put more French brands on the shelf to ease the entry into that marketplace. In a summary from a Canadian shoe retailer, Aldo, success comes from understanding customers at the local level. We're looking for the local differences. And I think we'll hear that as we listen to our speakers later today. And the flip side, of course, of this is there's many ways to succeed and there's equally as many ways to fail. And we documented a lot of cases of failure, and they almost always had a lot of common themes. And those themes were around lack of attention to the local market, really not adapting the format fast enough to what was going on, not paying attention to it from a management standpoint, just assuming you could go on autopilot, bad real estate choices, but the litany of failures are almost always around some failure in execution or failure to listen to what those customers were telling us on a local basis. If you think you can go it alone in a foreign market, it's very difficult. So there's many ways to succeed. It can be partnering. It could be the acquisition of a company. Or it could simply be having great local leadership. When Tesco went to South Korea, they did a partnership with Samsung. Samsung wasn't a retailer, but Samsung had brand credibility that they brought to the market. So when Tesco was coming there, the brand was accepted more readily by Korean consumers. Tesco came there around the same time that Carrefour came there. Carrefour is now gone. They came there at the same time that Walmart was there. Walmart's now gone. So they made the right partnership choices. Topshop is expanding in the US through partnerships with Nordstrom. So making sure that you're either getting there through partnership, through localization, and most importantly and fundamentally, understanding the local people, the local staff, the local management that you need to have in place to succeed. Hunke Muller out of Holland says everything is about people. We can't have a great product without great people, and we understand that we have to get people from a variety of backgrounds as we begin to expand outside the country. And the failures, of course, come the same way. Best Buy coming into the UK came in with a large formats, frankly, too late for that marketplace. Carrefour has failed in alternate ways in countries, either building stores too big or standalone or simply missing the local nuance and local flavor. Execution, execute, execute, execute. Great real estate. Getting the right locations, the top brands, making it into the market. And almost everybody who succeeded says, we got there first, we got great locations, and those locations remain the best locations we have. And it's not about how many countries you can get to, how fast you can get there. It's about getting there right and getting there the right way. So those are the 4 keys to success. And we learned so much of this from the retailers themselves. So in this session, we said we want to hear from them and hear further. So we invited executives from Mango and Delhaize to come out and talk. So the first gentleman who's going to speak puts my travel schedule to shame, operating stores in over 110 different countries. Would you please join me in welcoming Jose Gomez from Mango?
Thank you. Good. Well, good afternoon, and thank you for inviting me here today to tell you a little bit about Mango and who we are and what we have been doing international in the past few years. Mango is a company based in Barcelona, and we really started a few years before 1984. but not with the name Mango. Isaac and Dick, the founder of our company, had a small shop in downtown Barcelona selling t-shirts and accessories. Sometime later, he set up another store selling jeans called Isaac Jeans. And he thought that now that he has the t-shirts and the jeans and other accessories, why not create a concept that will have it all under one roof and that will sell a coordinated collection of fashion for young women. And that's how really Mango started. There we go. Sorry about that. Today, we have over 2,500 stores in 110 countries, and our sales are over 2 billion euros, or around $2.7 billion. Despite the size of the company, we're still a privately owned company run and controlled by our founder. But let me tell you a little bit about the milestones that we had at Mango. In 1994, we opened our first store in Barcelona's Paseo de Gracia, which is Barcelona's 5th Avenue. Although that we have always had big dreams of having stores in many places, at that time, we didn't even think of registering the Mango brand in a significant way outside of Spain. Little we knew back then that today we'll have stores in 110 countries. By 1992, we already had 100 stores in Spain, and we started our international adventure expanding to France and Portugal. In 1995, we started our sale online. Today, this would be no merit, but in 1995 in Spain, and actually in Europe, there were not that many retailers selling online fashion. We did struggle for the first years because we even had to convince our own store managers that online was a good thing, that it was not competition for the store, but the other way around, that it will be good and beneficial for the brand and will attract a new segment of customers with great potential of generating traffic back to the store. In 1998 was the year we became the second largest textile exporter in Spain, and in that year we had already around 400 stores, and we started our expansion in the Middle East with stores in Kuwait, Lebanon, and Dubai. 2002, we continued our expansion in Europe, and for the first time, we opened stores in China and Australia. In 2005, we created a new concept, Mango Touch, a concept of premium accessories with its own identity and outside of the regular Mango store. In 2006, we started our expansion in the US with our first stores in South Coast Plaza, California, and followed by stores in Miami and New York. In 2008, we launched our men's concept, and we have as ambassador Gerard Piqué of the Football Club Barcelona. I'm not sure if you follow soccer, as you call it here, but if you do, you'll be very familiar with him. He was a great success with our male customer. Also in 2008, we started our collaboration with JCPenney for our brand M&G by Mango, a line exclusively produced for JCPenney, and in a year and a half, we opened more than 500 shop-in-shops, allowing us to have a presence with the M&G by Mango brand in cities where we could have no go with the Mango concept. In 2009, we celebrated the third edition of El Botón, the biggest award of its category to recognize young talent, with a prize of 300,000 euros or $400,000. We're particularly proud of this award since it gives the possibility to its winners of starting their own business. This award has had as presidents of the jury in its different editions such important figures in the world of fashion as Valentino, Oscar de la Renta, and Jean-Paul Gaultier. And that's a little bit about Mango. I can continue to go on, but given the limited time that we have, I would like now to tell you a little bit of our reasons to expand, or better said, our needs to expand. They're different for every company, but the goal is common, growth. In 1992, with already 100 stores in Spain, population 40 million at the time, the market was getting covered by our network of stores, and every year was a little more difficult to expand. The potential for expansion was getting smaller and smaller in our home country. To give you an example, since 1992 till today, we have opened 220 stores in Spain, more or less, population 45 million today. But in the same period of time, we have opened over 2,200 stores in the rest of the world. Tax advantages could be one of those reasons to expand. So is to diversify your risk. You don't depend on your home market only. You can take advantage of different economic cycles. And we see this very clearly today. While in Europe, and especially in Southern Europe, is suffering a recession, Asia, Russia, Latin America, and the Middle East are showing very strong growth. But you need to prepare. We need to prepare well, not only to know the local law and regulations, but also to know the market, its potential, its competition, identify what are your competitive advantages and disadvantages, and never forget to take into account the local culture, idiosyncrasy, and the way of doing business of the countries that you're trying to enter. Is your supply chain ready? Can you get product to the points of sale as far as faster than your competition? These are some of the questions that you need to ask yourself when you're getting ready to expand. The worst thing that can happen to you is that you have orders that you cannot deliver, because it's a lot harder to recover a client with a bad experience than signing a new deal. Understand and adapt your product and market strategy to the local consumer, but without losing your brand identity. Adjust your pricing policy, marketing campaigns, adjust your product. Although fashion is global, there are local differences in taste, colors, and shapes. And the climate is very important. We have special collections for cold countries, warm countries, and Middle Eastern countries. Those areas of the world receive a special collection that is about 20% of extra models on top of the regular collection that address the needs and tastes of those areas. In return, that allows us to sell more and reach a greater number of women. But it's important not to lose our brand identity. So we make those adjustments to the product that includes Mango's interpretation of the needs of the region. Here you have a dress of the Mango collection. And here you have another dress of the Arabic collection that we make for the Middle East. And yet I give you another example. Here is a casual look from the Mango collection. Here's the same casual look interpretation for the Arabic markets. Both are within Mango style, but they resonate with two different types of women in the Middle East. But also be aware of preconceived ideas of the culture and customs you may have in your head of a certain region, particularly when you just enter in the market. I'll give you a couple of examples of this. When we entered the US, we decided not to send size 0, because although that we have done our homework studying the market, we thought that America, it was large sizes, and there was no need for size 0. That was a big mistake, and the first season, we lost a lot of sales just for not having noticed in that. When we started in Iran, and after 12 years of experience in the Middle East, we thought that the Arabic collection will sell well, but wrong again. Women in Iran were not interested in an Arabic collection, they were interested in the European fashion of Mango. Hire local talent. No one knows better the locals than the locals. Whatever your business model is, you need local talent that know in detail the market and the characteristics of the region, especially if the countries that you're entering are hard to navigate. Selecting the right location and getting a good deal may not be easy if you don't know well the market or have the right connections. Choose the business model that works for you best. We at Mango have a 5-pronged approach into international. We have franchise stores, which comprise about 50% of our chain, and 90% of our franchises are on consignment basis, where the franchisee pays for the goods after they collect the money from the customer, and they return to us 100% of the leftover at the end of the season. Corporate stores, these are located primarily in Europe, America, China, and Japan. Online, not only at mango.com, but also at multi-brand stores, like ASOS or Amazon or Taobao in China. Travel retail, our stores at the airports, great ambassadors of the brand throughout the world. We have them in San Francisco, Orlando, London, Miami, Barcelona, and along, etc. And finally, shop-in-shops. Stores in the best department stores in Europe for the Mango brand, and at JCPenney for our M&G by Mango brand in the United States. As far as distribution of turnover, as you can see, our biggest market is Europe, which is our natural market. If you're wondering how much Spain is out of that briefcase, I tell you it's 17%. But in years to come, and without a doubt, we see Asia occupying a bigger piece of the briefcase. Our plans for the immediate future is to continue to grow with brick-and-mortar stores in all countries, where we have already a presence, and we put in a big emphasis on online, and especially on becoming a more omni-channel company. We're putting a lot of effort in trying to bridge the shopping experience across all channels. On the coming year, we'll also launch a kids line, and in early 2014, we're going to start a new teenage line called Rebel by Mango. And thank you for the opportunity to let me tell you about our company, and I leave you with the world of Mango. Thank you.
So Jose and I were independently putting together our presentations, I swear. But when he saw mine, he said, you copied my presentation. The only difference was he had a lot better visuals in his than we did in ours. So thank you very much for sharing the Mango story and what they've done to succeed globally. And we asked ourselves the question, well, is it different in food? Is there something different about the food market or the mass market than there is in the fashion market? And for that, we're enlisting one of the great students of retail that I ever met. Dennis and I first met, I think, inside a Walmart store in Seattle, kind of walking and critiquing. And he truly is a wonderful student of retail and a great practitioner at the Delhaize Corporation. So please join me in welcoming Dennis Knoops.
Good afternoon, everybody. Always a pleasure to be back in the city. Well, a few months ago, Neil called me and said, Denny, are you interested to come in New York City for a keynote speech with Mango? I say, wow, with Mango, sure, that's an honor. Mango is a big company, well-known everywhere in the world. So yes, I'm coming. What I didn't know, he asked the same question to Jose. And Jose said, what is Delhaize? I don't know that company. Is it a retailer? So I'm afraid I will have to present my company first. Yes. So I will have a few slides to explain to you what is Delhaize, and then I'm going to talk about globalization, success or failure. So Delhaize, we are a supermarket group company. We have about 22 billion euro, which is less than 30 billion US dollar, around 150,000 people in the world. We are in 11 countries, and we have about 5.5 million square meters of selling area. The biggest part of Delhaize, it's United States. The second biggest part is Belgium, where we are based. And the third part is rest of the world with Southeast Europe and Asia. First, United States. This is 65% of our sales. So when US is doing well, Delhaize is doing well. If US is not doing well, then we have problem. So here in US, we have many brands, as you can see on the slide. And we are almost everywhere from Maine, north of Boston, to Florida. Here in US, we have different brands, and all these brands, they have different identity, different go-to-market strategy. The biggest one is Food Lion, well known in the Southeast. We are a market leader in the Southeast. The second biggest one is Hannaford in the Northeast. I have had the chance to work there for a couple of years. And it's not too bad to be based in Portland, Maine. That was a good part of my life. And we have also a Bottom Dollar Food. That's a new company. It's a very low-cost supermarket, and we are there only in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. Belgium. Belgium, we are a multi-format food specialist. We have more than 800 stores, 16,000 people. We have about 25% market share. And the specialty of Belgium is that we have about 50% of our business is what we call affiliate, which is franchise store. In Belgium, we do have also a pet food company, pet food, pet care, Tom & Co., and also a very innovative discounter, Red Market. Southeast Europe. We are in Greece. We are in Serbia, we are in Romania, in Bulgaria, and in a few other small countries around. And then last but not least, Indonesia. I'm very proud that I have had the chance to launch the business there and to manage the business there in the first years. And today, the business is very successful. We have 100 stores, more than 5,000 people, and we are now ready for a faster expansion in the coming years. OK, that's it about the identity card. So globalization. Why does it work? Why does it fail? That's the question that I think everybody asks. First remark, is it not strange that nobody, no food retailer in the world is present in the top 5 biggest markets? Nobody. Is it not strange that Walmart, the biggest company in the world, is not, or no more, in continental Europe? Is it not strange that Tesco is not, or no more, in continental Europe? And is it not strange that Carrefour is not, or no more, in US? Imagine in another industry, imagine food industry. Could you imagine Coca-Cola, not in France, not in Germany? Can you imagine Nestlé, not in US, not in Japan? This is food retail. So what's wrong? There is something bizarre about food retail. And that's what we are going to analyze. So I have 2 theories. One theory is the not yet theory. It's just the globalization is not yet there in food retail. It's coming. It's coming. The other theory, it will never happen. Food retail, this is something different. And local players are better. First theory, not yet. Well, it takes time. Global is quite new for big retailers. It's only 20, 30, 40 years ago that people go in other markets. If you look at all industry, car industry, technology, IT, you name it, everybody is moving in globalization. Economy of scale, for sure. If you are bigger, you can have economy of scale, and we have all learned that this helps you to save money. So this is the not yet theory. It's coming. It's not yet there, but it's coming. A few examples. Walmart Mexico. This company is a $32 billion company. It's much bigger than the majority of the company you are working for. It's bigger than the company I'm working for. And it's only a tiny part of Walmart. Tesco Lotus. I was in Asia when Tesco arrived in Thailand. They bought a good company, Lotus. They made it a great company. And today, Tesco Lotus is market leader in Thailand. Casino in Brazil, fantastic example. Now, let's move to the second theory. Maybe more provocative. Globalization will never happen in food retail because the synergies always kill a little bit the differentiation, the local differentiation. The search for global efficiency kills the local effectiveness. Another point, the global suppliers. Do you think they are really interested to see us being as big as they are? The diseconomy of scale, sometimes local scale is much more important than global scale. And then last but not least, bureaucracy. Why bureaucracy? Last week, I was listening to the CEO of Nestlé, and he was explaining that they have 330,000 employees in the world, and they are in more than 100 countries. For a food retailer to have the same footprint than Nestlé, this would mean million and million and million of people. The size of that company would be so big that this would create bureaucracy. And bureaucracy creates 2 things. Bureaucracy creates costs. But more important, bureaucracy creates a fantastic opportunity for the local players to fight against the big guy. A few examples of this never theory. Indomaret in Indonesia, probably a lot of you don't know that company. They have 7,000 stores. They open 1,000 stores a year, and it's a pure local player. Their profitability, it's amazing. There is no one retailer here in the US achieving the kind of payback they have with their stores. Another example, Biedronka in Poland. I was there a few years ago. I visited their stores. I visited their warehouse. I saw their management. They have more than 2,000 stores, only in Poland, only in one country. They open 200, 250 stores a year. One of the best retailers in the world. Maybe some of you will say, hey, this is wrong. Biedronka, this is a company owned by a Portuguese company. So this is more the other theory. Well, we asked them the question, there is no synergies. Zero. Nothing between Portugal and Poland. And last but not least, Mercadona. I was there a few months ago, and despite the difficult situation in Spain, they are doing well. They are now, I think, around 20 billion only in one country. 20 billion. One country, one language, one culture. So, back to Delhaize. Where are we? Delhaize. Well, sometimes we succeed. Romania is a fantastic example. We are #1 in Bucharest. If you walk in Bucharest, every 500 meters, 500 yards for the American, more or less, you see a mega image store. We are growing like crazy. We are by far the #1 in Bucharest. Superindo, Indonesia. We are #1 in Jakarta, but we still have thousands of opportunities to grow. We are almost only on Java Island, and there are 13,000 islands in Indonesia. So there we have really the potential to grow in the coming years and in the coming decades. Greece. Greece, oh my God, you are in Greece. This must be terrible. No. We are in Greece, and it's great. Our profitability is stable. We are gaining market share as never, and for sure, we manage the risk. It means we bring back the money every night to Europe. But sometimes we fail. Thailand, we started there, a great joint venture. We had great stores, great people. We opened from 1 to 35 stores in 5 years' time, but we had to stop. We were not able to make money. The competition was really too hard, and we had to pull the plug. Sometimes we fail. Czech Republic. We were the very first international retailer to come in Czech Republic, in Prague, just after the fall of the Berlin Wall in '91. And we were well known, we were recognized as the best supermarket in Czech Republic, but despite the beautiful award, we were losing money, the competition was crazy, we had up to 15 international retailers in town, and we had also to stop and to sell the business. So, what's the magic recipe? Well, I'm afraid to say, I don't know. But what I know, it's clearly global is powerful. However, local is beautiful. Thank you.
Dennis knows I would not have invited him if the answer was I don't know. That wasn't the point, Dennis. Thank you. Hopefully what we've done in the prepared remarks is just give you a sense of the future. And the future is absolutely global. It's internationalization. However, it's not easy. And even the same company like Delhaize can succeed in one market and not succeed in the other. So we say it's unevenly distributed. There's no set formula that a company can follow through with that one. The report on globalization, I just showed you some highlights. It will be available through the Ebeltoft Group. And now we have some time. We really want to take some questions from the audience. Hopefully you've been texting, tweeting, sending them in. And we'll kind of turn the floor over to Dennis and Jose and ask them some of the questions that are on your mind. So the first question is, what is the most challenging country you've entered, and what have you done to succeed in that country, or not succeed in that country?
Well, we all, hear and talk about the BRIC countries, and, we do well in almost all of them, with the exception of one, Brazil.
You do know that half the audience here is Brazilian, right? So.
Yeah, bem-vindos. Yes, Brazil is one of those markets that we had a lot of resistance, not from the point of the product or the sales, but dealing with the red tape of importing. Not only for high taxes, but for licenses. And we're a fast fashion company. I can have product from Spain to Thailand in 10 days in the store.
Wow.
That, I cannot do that in Brazil. In Brazil, I'll need 2 months. So that is complicated for our type of business model. Nevertheless, we have not succeeded yet. We are present in Brazil. We sell online, but we're still going at it, so.
Good, thank you. Dennis?
Well, probably I would like to talk about Indonesia. I was there in 98, so we started in 97, I arrived in 98, and after a few months' time, the economy completely collapsed in Asia and especially in Indonesia. And to give you one number, the rupiah was 2,500 for $1, and in a couple of months, suddenly it was 17,000 for $1. We had our rent in dollar. We were paying some of our products in dollar as well. So that was challenging, but more challenging. In May 98, it was big riots in Jakarta. More than 1,000 people died in Jakarta during the riots. We had stores looted, we had stores burned, and I must say, I was not prepared for this kind of things. I'm a retailer, I'm a small grocer, and I have no expertise in war. That was war. And well, we were able, thanks to an incredible team there, to reopen the store, the very first one. So the very first store where people could buy water, noodle, cooking oil, which is something people need to survive, that was in Superindo. And I must say, I was probably one of the first ones to come back to the country. And in the plane, we were 4 of us. And the 3 others, they were working for a security company. I was the only businessman in the plane. And I think I was maybe a little bit crazy, but the team really enjoyed to see me there. And then we have created good links, and today we have good roots to grow in Indonesia.
Right. It sounds like perseverance is incredibly important as you're going to new countries, new markets that create that challenge. There's a question from the audience that says, what do you think the balance should be between globalization and localization? You both come from relatively small countries as home bases, so Jose, how would you answer that question?
Well, I think it depends also what your products is. You can be successful in your own country, but everything has a limit. And the world is a big place. As I said before, only 17% of our revenue comes from Spain, and the rest is all international. So we can continue to grow in Spain, of course, but it's limited the amount of stores that you can have. We have around 350 today. There's always new development, new malls that you can open, but at what rate? Maybe 10 a year, maybe 15 a year at the most. The rest of the world is very big, and we have a product that is global that right. We think we can continue to expand.
Right. Thank you. Dennis?
Well, almost the same answer. Belgium is a very small market, 11 million people. We are very close to market leadership there, so we still invest a lot in Belgium. Belgium is very important for us, but the growth is not coming from Belgium. The growth is coming from abroad.
Okay. So you can expect this answer. What new markets are you looking at? Where do you think you might go in the future?
Well, we don't have any official plans, so I cannot disclose any scoop today.
Okay.
So we are looking around.
Jose, can I put you on the spot?
Sure.
Where will you go to next if you could from new markets?
I guess after 110 countries, you know, we concentrate on being more prominent on those that we have maybe 1, 2, or 3 locations, and if the market allows it, some markets just don't allow for more than 1, 2, or 3 stores at the time being, right? But I think our next frontier will be Africa as the infrastructure gets better in those countries.
Great.
But maybe, Neil, I can say also, for us, it's more important to have density where we are. So we are not looking to put flags on the map. We don't care to be in 11 or 10 or 12 countries. That's not important. What we want is where we are, we want to be one of the leaders. And so if we can invest more to acquire a company or to open companies in market where we are already, this is always the priority before going to a new market.
You know, it's interesting because as we were doing the report, talking the difference between a fashion retailer and a food retailer, it's feasible in your business model, Jose, to franchise, to have a few stores in countries and be very successful. In the food business, some scale is needed, right, to density, as you say, to be successful. Right. Jose, you knew this question was coming, so I don't even have to prepare you. So,
okay.
Mango has a partnership with JCPenney, as you said, since 2008. Can you comment on how that partnership is going, and has anything changed since the JCPenney strategy has changed?
Well, as I said, yeah, we started in 2008. I think all the changes that JCPenney is going through on, you know, having one low price every day and discounting less is absolutely in line with us. And I think all of the changes are very positive for us. Relationship is going very well so far. So I know they're going through a lot of changes at the moment and having a tough time. But actually, for our brand in particular, we're doing very well inside JCPenney.
I mean, you were one of the early shop-in-shops.
Yes, we were after Sephora. Yeah.
So kind of become a model maybe for what JCPenney is trying to do with the other brands.
Right.
Yeah. And Dennis, you said as the U.S. goes, so goes Delhaize. How is the U.S. going now for your business?
Well, US is challenging for many people, and US is challenging for us. But the good news is that we have a new CEO for Delhaize America for a few months now, and he has done already a lot of work. He has changed the team already, and so I think we have all the good decision in place to have a better year this year.
Good. This is an interesting question because you both addressed this a little bit in your remarks, but the question is, how has the vendor's response to increased globalization of retailer helped you or hindered you in growth? And Dennis, I think you sort of said that they're not exactly your friends in the effort to become global. Can you comment on that?
No, they are, of course, my very good friends. But what I want to say, when you are in a few countries and you go to the big vendors and you try to have on top of local condition extra worldwide condition or European condition or whatever, this is not necessarily good news for them. I will give you an example. I'm from Belgium. Next to Belgium you have Netherlands, which is more or less same size country, a little bit bigger. The conditions are not the same in the two countries. So the same product in Belgium costs around 3 to 4% more than in Netherlands. And it's okay for everybody. It works great until somebody crossed the border and come with the product from Holland to Belgium. And so you can imagine that it's not necessarily good news for the suppliers to adapt the condition.
Yeah. As a vertically integrated company, it's a bit different. How do you respond?
Yeah, for us, it's a little bit different because we plate large orders, whether in the Far East, in whatever country that might be, right? And the supplier not always knows where it's going to be distributed. Those orders they come to us, or we do some cross-docking also, but they come to our central warehouse, and then we redistribute to the world from there.
Yeah.
So not necessarily the supplier knows every single time, exactly where they're going.
But one challenge, and this comes from the audience as well, that you're admired for the point of view you bring to fashion, but yet you have to, as you said, you have to adapt to local countries. So how on earth do you adapt to 110 different countries, fashions, trends, and do it all in a way to get it there quickly?
Well, fashion is really very global, right? And I don't want to be misunderstood. I don't think that to be successful internationally, you have to adjust from day one to those trends. The examples I gave for the Middle East, we didn't enter the Middle East with that in place. Those changes, we studied the market, we discovered that there was a need and an opportunity, to serve a greater number of women by making some adjustments that were possible to our collection, and then we did it. In the case of India, the ambassador of Spain in India asked me the other day, are you adapting your product to India and make saris? Actually, no, that's not a Mango interpretation, right? Yeah. So I think the models were very clear. It was just making longer sleeves. But we're extremely active in design. We have over 100 designers in our center in Barcelona, in our design center, with cool hunters that continuously travel the world looking. Fashion is created on the street. And then how do you interpret that? Fashion is something alive, and sometimes a lot of products they don't see in the shops. There's a lot of products that they get designed and they never get it to the shops.
But I imagine you've had some examples, though, of an item that flew off the shelf in one country and didn't sell at all in another. I mean, does that happen often for you?
Sometimes. What we try to do is, for obvious reasons, is to manage our inventory very efficiently. And we try to do that by centralizing our inventory and get to the stores the right part at the right time with a fast replenishment. In any case, we work with a sense of urgency. And our goal is not to have an entire style for the entire season. We produce a certain number of units, it is shipped to different countries, and after it's gone, something else will be in rid of. So you have the customer line that if you want it, you buy it now.
Right. Okay, you both are working with experienced retail companies and experienced retailers yourselves. What one last piece of advice could you give, your magic recipe, Dennis, to the audience in terms of, what's the best thing they can do if they want to succeed globally?
Well, I will tell you a story. When I was in Thailand, I met the guy who launched Pizza Hut in Thailand. And during his first press conference, the people in Thailand say, why the hell are you going to launch Pizza Hut in Thailand? Nobody eats pizza here. And he said, not yet. And I think that's one piece. So when you go to a market, you need to add something. If you just do the same that the local guy, well, let the local guy do it, he's going to do it better than you. On the other hand, if you go too far, if you bring only new things and you are too innovative and you don't respect the local touch, then you can be a fantastic, innovative retailer, but you will not attract any consumer. So I think that's this balance between these two things that make you successful or not.
Right. Jose, you want to close us off, please?
I think that the best advice is go. Go international. The reward is very big. And be flexible. Don't assume that because it works at home and it's a success, therefore this could be replicated without looking at it carefully before. That's
great, thank you. It's been an unbelievable Sunday, I think, for those of you who've been coming to NRF for a long time, which I have. The crowd keeps on growing, the content keeps on growing, and it's not over yet. So right after this session, there's the preview reception in the expo hall at level 1, so they're going to open up the exhibit hall, and then there's the opening reception that takes place tonight from 6:30 to 8:30 at the Marriott Marquis Hotel. What does it take to thrive globally? Hopefully we shed some insight for you this afternoon. So thank you very much.